Well guys, we're back out at the potato garden this morning. We're noticing that the Red Norlands are dying, and we don't know anything about this variety. It's a new variety for us, but as they die, we're going to take them out. Now the other varieties are still pretty and green, but it's kind of funny. The Red Norland, if you look down, it's all weeds through there because the potatoes have died and the weeds are taking over. So we're going to go and try to start taking some of them out. Now they're not a big potato like we're used to. Well, I say that. I mean, they're okay. Get some of these. We always try to take weeds out as we go. I mean, they're decent potatoes. I can't say that they're not. They're pretty good. Looking at them here, lots of little ones on there that never even formed on that one. This is new potatoes for us to try here, a new variety. Let's just pull this one back and see what we end up with here. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 so far off of that one. Now see, that's a lot better. That's more like what we're used to. All right, we're going to check a few more right here just to see what we tell anything about these. They're decent. I mean, you know, I don't guess it really matters because you're going to be cutting them up to can them anyway. So we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 off of it so far. Let's see if there's, no, just 6 of them in there. Let's see what we got here. This one may not have as many. See, some of them just never really matured. This one really just got 3, maybe 4 if we take that little one right there. But there's no more. So these are the things that we look at here when we're trying to choose varieties for here at Deep South Homestead. We actually had 11 different varieties total, counting ours, that we redone. And out of these 11 varieties, we're trying to figure out which ones produce the best here at Deep South Homestead. Now we've already dug the ones that we saved and replanted ourselves, and they done excellent. I mean, y'all saw that. We had up to 25 potatoes on one plant. And they were nice potatoes, way bigger than these. So the Red Norlands so far, I'm not impressed with them. It's not to say that they're not a good potato in your area. It's just that where we're at right here, it doesn't seem like they're a heavy producer. Now, all of our potatoes this year, with the exception of 2 varieties, came from Hoss Tool. And we opted to try all the varieties they had to see if some of them were better here than others, because you never know in your climate. Some potatoes do better, some don't. And that's the whole idea of trying to figure this thing out while we got time, guys. And the Red Norlands are good potatoes. I'm not trying to say they're not good potatoes, because that's a good potato. They're nice. They're not as large as we usually get on our regular potatoes, but hey, they're still good potatoes. And what I'm looking at, the skin on them, the skin's a lot tougher. Now that may make them a better holding potato, but I'm also noticing something else. See these eyes right here? Look at that eye. See that eye? I can tell they're starting to want to swell. That one's wanting to swell. Look at all those eyes in there. These things might end up making a really good potato for us, because they may reproduce really well. Now that's something we're going to look at too. We're going to go ahead and see another one here, because we're in the shade right now. We get out in the sun, we're going to have to quit. Let's take it real easy here. Let me just kind of shake it off lightly. I love this dirt, guys. Our dirt is just fantastic. 2, 3, 4. See, now this is what we're used to with white potatoes here. is just getting a few like this. And our reds usually load up pretty good. Now, talking about white potatoes, I'll move the dirt right here and I want to show you something. You pull this plant back, look right here. This is a German butterball. They're getting uncovered and the sun's gonna get to them and ruin them. So I'm fixing to take a scoop of this dirt right here and throw it over there on that. Cover that back up. But these are all dying out. That's what we're looking for. I will say one thing I like about these is that rough skin. But what's bothering me is those eyes. They look like they're trying to sprout. Now, I don't know. We're going to have to hold them for a little while and see what happens. The ground's not wet. It ain't been raining in several days. Matter of fact, it's done got pretty dry here. All right, we're in the white potato garden now. And yeah, I'm taking a break because this sun is killing me out here. We've went about 10 or 12 feet here in the middle of the white potato garden. Now what we did was we put 2 rows of German butterballs on this side over here. We put the Red Norlands in the middle, and then we put the Kennebec white, 1 row of them on the side here, and then we have the crescent fingerlings on the edge right here. Now, I wanted to show you a few things we learned. The Red Norlands, what we're finding, it's not wet here, it's dry, but what we're finding, see that? They're just rotten. They're rotting in the soil, and I've been just pitching them down the hill, and Wanda told me, she said, whoa, we got to make a video about that. Here's another one here is rotten. It's they seem to be worse than the others. But we've got a pretty good harvest in the bucket right here for we went about 10 feet. I don't know, we may have dug up, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 plants. This is 12 plants. Not too bad, I don't reckon. Not a big fan of them right now, especially with them rotting like they are and it's not wet. That's one thing I'm seeing that kind of disturbs me. But there are some pluses to it. The skin on them looks very tough, and if that's the case, they may hold well. Only time's going to tell. We're still in this thing really early. And guys, normally we would be able to plow these with a tractor and bed them all up and stuff like that, but because we planted 11 different varieties this year, that's 110 pounds of potatoes. We planted them and we had to intense plant them. So when we intense planted them, it meant that we could use a Hoss tool on them a couple of times to bed them up, but to really throw a lot of dirt, we just couldn't do it. And we're having some problems now since we've had a lot of hard flood rains with it washing dirt away from them, and we don't have the dirt to put back on them. And one of the prime examples is the Kennebec white here. Now the Kennebec white is starting to turn green because just a little spot of it there was exposed laying on the edge of that bank, and we got a little green in it, which we can cut that out and still use it. But usually white potatoes don't do too good here, but the Kennebec seems like they might do all right. I don't know yet. The thing about the Kennebecs is they're not like the Red Norlands. So the Red Norlands, the plants, a lot of them have died and completely gone. The Kennebecs are still pretty and green. It looks like they're going to be all right. We're going to leave them anyway. We're going to leave them till they die because that's what we like to do, because it makes a better holding potato if you do that. And then we have the German butterballs here. Now this, to me, it's just a good eating potato right there. We ate some the other day, the good creamy taste. They call butterball for a reason. They got a buttery taste to them, really nice. And just like the Kennebec whites, the German butterballs are still pretty and green. So we're hoping that, we're hoping that they continue to grow on too. Guys, I think I just messed up in the video here. I think this is the Yukon Gold. I'm gonna have to go back and watch my own video. It's either the Kennebec white or the Yukon Gold. I'll have to go back and look because we got so many planted. I'm forgetting what it is because I've got white ones in a garden up here, and I'm thinking now that may be the Yukon. I mean the Kennebec whites up there. This could very possibly be the Yukon Golds because that may be why they're doing as good as they're doing. So guys, I have a video where I actually planted these, and I made a personal video, so that I would know what's what. And I'm gonna have to go back and watch my own personal video to see, you know, which one it is, because it's either the Kennebec white or it's the Yukon Gold. It's gonna be one or the other. But I know this is a German butterball. I know that. Awesome little potato. And then we have the white fingerlings here. These are some that got exposed, and Wanda went ahead and snatched them up out of the ground. We were pulling weeds around them right here at the end, and they were just laying on top of the ground covered up with weeds right there, so we went ahead and got them where the sun wouldn't get them. We'll add these to our, probably our dinner, more than likely, because when we get something like this, and these little odd potatoes here, we kind of like to use them to eat for dinner during the day. We'll cook them up. Gives us an idea about what they're going to taste like. So, okay guys, as I mentioned, these seed potatoes all come from Hoss Tool, except for one variety, which was at the cabin. That was ours. You might want to go check them out because they have great seed company there that really produces, their seeds are produced well for us. We're going to leave the rest of them. They look beautiful. We're going to let them go and see just how many they'll make and see just what, you know, what they actually are capable of producing here at Deep South Homestead, because these are varieties we've never planted before. We mainly just plant the old red Lesotas, or the one of the other red varieties that just left my mind, Pontiac, the red Pontiac or red Lesota. Those are the two varieties that we normally purchase here in town as seed potatoes. We don't have access to all these other varieties. Now, Wanda and I have had the white Rushing fingerlings for years. We've had them since we got married, and we know what they'll do, and we know how well they produce. But all these others, like the white crescents, the French fingerlings, and all these other fingerling potatoes, and the Yukon Gold, and the Red Norland, the blue potatoes, the Adirondack blue, the true blues, and all that kind of stuff. We've never grown these varieties here before because they hadn't been accessible to us. But now that Hoss Tool is carrying them, it gives us an idea about which ones will produce well here at our homestead. Doesn't matter to us at this point right now because we're just going to have a lot of potatoes to deal with. So guys, we're going to finish this afternoon. It's just too hot out here right now. The temperature's already up in the mid 80s. Heat index is higher than that. We're going to come back this evening after it cools off and finish, seeing if we can't dig the rest of this row out. And we'll finish the video up then and show you what we've actually harvested from one row of the Red Norlands. All right, guys, we finished digging the Red Norlands. It is 7 o'clock in the afternoon. The sun finally has set enough that we can get in here and it's shaded. Guys, I'm really disappointed in the Red Norlands. That's a 90-foot row you're looking at here. And out of a 90-foot row, we harvested 40 pounds of potatoes. And they're not big. I mean, you look here in the bucket. This is predominantly what we got right here. That size right there. Nothing special. I think this was the biggest potato in the whole bucket was right here. Just one potato. All the rest of them is actually golf ball size and smaller. I don't know why that is. Have no answer for it. You know, the other potatoes are still pretty and green. All the Red Norlands died. But there is something strange. Once the Red Norlands had died, the weeds came up. And there's hardly, I mean, there's some weeds in the other potatoes, but not much. But I want you to look at how many weeds Wanda and I pulled out of the Red Norlands just so we could dig them. Once them plants died, the weeds took over. Now, let's look at the weeds. If you look at here, now some of it's are potato vines, but most of it predominantly, look all through here. This is all weeds we pulled out of here. All this here, all this stuff you're looking at is weeds. And we have a new weed here this year. I don't know what it is. And it's only in the Red Norlands. I don't know what, it looks like some kind of asparagus type looking weed loaded with little blooms all over it, but it looks like an asparagus kind of. It's tall. It was in there by the piles. I mean, it's everywhere. We've never had that weed here, and it's only in the Red Norlands. It's not in the rest of the potatoes. I don't know why that is. You can see the rest of the potatoes here. There's a couple of weeds here and there in it. Nothing like the Red Norlands were. Okay, guys, we're going to just leave this open down through the middle here, because what we're getting ready to do is when all these potatoes eventually come out, we're going to put field peas in here. We call them summer peas, cow peas, whatever you want to call it. We'll probably put red rippers or pink-eyed purple hulls or crowders or something like that in here, because we love our peas. And we may even, on our trellises on the hills, we'll be putting our butter peas over there. But these are all the white potatoes left. We got the German butter balls. We got some fingerlings over here that's white. And this is either the Kennebec white or the Yukon golds. I'll have to go back and look and see my little personal video I shot and see which one it is. But the white potatoes is all looking fine. This is the first time ever I've had the white potatoes outperform the red potatoes. So I probably won't grow the Red Norlands here anymore. This is probably it for us on that. I usually am the kind of person to give something once, and if it doesn't work, then I don't worry about it anymore. It's not that it's a bad potato, it's just that it's not for our area, evidently. The white potatoes, we'll check them whenever we harvest them. We're keeping records of what does what. The Russian fingerlings, done fantastic. Now, get this. The Russian white fingerling potatoes that we ordered off of Amazon and cut up and planted, we had two little short rows about 30 feet long. I got almost 2 5-gallon bucketfuls off of fingerlings, which is tiny potatoes. And this is a 90-foot row, and I only got 40 pounds of potatoes. So I got 60 pounds of the fingerlings on 60 feet a row, and I got 40 pounds of these. Now, you're going to ask me how many potatoes did I plant to get this? We actually, we got 10 pounds of potatoes from Hall's Tool whenever we done this, but we only planted 6 pounds of them. We blessed Amanda from Freedom Acres with some, and I planted a few on top of the hill by the cabin back there just so we'd have some at the cabin. They're still standing up pretty and green. No problem. They're rocking and rolling. But these here all died for some reason. Who knows? We'll check whenever we dig those over there, and we'll see how they've done. Now, I will say this. Those got planted almost 2 weeks later than these, because we had cut them up and we done this planting and we had nowhere to plant all of our potatoes. So I left some of them in the bags that they came in for 2 more weeks, and I went and checked them, and they were still perfectly good. And I planted them on a hill over there. I planted about a 25-foot row of what I had left, and they're up tall, pretty and green, doing good. Don't know why. It's all an experiment this year to see what does the best. So guys, stay with us. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification button so when we put these videos up, you can follow us and you can see what kind of results we have. Because we're not just sitting here talking about what we do. We're showing you what we do. And we're showing you the results of it. So, to me, that's worth a lot. So, hang with us, guys, while we dig our potatoes this year and see how it turns out. Thank you, guys, from Deep South Homestead.